All right. Got a few people watching me. How's everybody doing? Roger up the chat if you can hear me. Nope, now I lost it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm having internet trouble or what's going on here. I know the stream dropped there for a second. Get rid of that. Okay, so you can see me? Yeah. I don't know how this is going to work out. Computer is not running great right now, and I don't know if my internet connection is, it's been really weird the last few days. Been, I have a really good router, and for some reason the last couple of days it's just been kind of being bad. Sorry, I just had to look at my security camera to see what my dog is doing. You may notice on my YouTube channel that I just uploaded a breakdown over there just a little while ago. Yeah, and you can probably hear him out there. He's destroying something. It's a toy. It's okay. While I was editing that video, I had him locked in the front room so he wouldn't make any noise while I was recording. And went out there to find that he'd chewed through the power cord to the filter mechanism for my fish tank. So it's okay because I was able to fix it. He'd already chewed through it once before. I'd gotten a plug from Home Depot, wired it on there. It took me about 3 minutes. So I just had to do that again. So no big deal. Okay, so enough chit chat. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Like I said, I just uploaded a video to the channel about the Alberta footage. If you haven't seen that, head on over there and take a look at it. I wanted to do this live stream tonight. I intended to do this yesterday, but I just didn't have time. This is about the Wildhorse Lake footage that I did a breakdown on probably close to a year ago. I don't remember exactly when I uploaded it. It is the second most watched video of all of my breakdowns. Something like 300 some odd thousand. Just for the the record, the people who originally uploaded this piece of footage filed a takedown request with YouTube to take my breakdown down, and YouTube refused. They contacted me and said, they received a takedown request from the original uploader, and YouTube refused, based on the fact that my video 100% complies with fair use laws in the United States. Now, that doesn't mean that it wouldn't be taken down in other countries that don't observe fair use laws in the United States, but at least for in the United States, it would stay up. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, if you haven't seen the footage, I'm going to play a clip here. Now, I have the first few seconds cut off, and there's a reason for that. But it basically starts right up here. You can see, make sure I'm capturing the right thing here. Right up in here, you can see the figure as it's getting ready to run off to the right there. So I'll play it a couple times real quick and let you take a look. Let me take the sound off, or turn the sound on rather. And here we go.
Wildhorse, he said, he made her down enough to just make her out.
Dad, what is that?
Wow, what is that? A bear. Stand on its leg.
A bear. Okay, one more time.
Wildhorse, you say, Raider down and out and just take her out.
Dad, what is that?
Wow, what is that? A bear. Stand on its legs. What is
Okay. Now, like I said, this video on my channel got a lot of views, and of course, it created a lot of comments. You know, some were positive in nature, you know, supporting my view of this. Quite a few others were, I wouldn't say derogatory or anything, but you know, disagreed with me, which is fine. Trying to think of some of the comments, some of the more interesting ones. You know, there's a lot of people out there who say it looks like a gibbon. They say the arms are way too long for it to be a human being. Some of my favorite ones are the ones that comment on the speed of the figure and just how fast it goes. They're trying to say that it runs. I got one here just, I think it was just yesterday, saying that there's no way that a human could run that fast. This is faster than a human, a Olympic sprinter could run. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. Before I go into that, a little bit about arm length. Arm length by itself, and I know a lot of people say, look at the arms, look at the arms. There's a lot of different videos out there where people say, look at the arms, are way too long to be a human being. Arm length alone, and I'm going to do a video on this sometime in the near future. Arm length alone is, well, it's meaningless for the most part. It's not until you compare the arms to the other parts of the body, specifically the legs, where you can get an idea of what you're looking at, is whether it's either a human or a non-human primate. And even then, even if you have something where the legs are longer than the human, it doesn't necessarily mean, let me back up there. Even if you have something where the legs and the arms are relatively the same length, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a human. There'll be a video and another live discussion about that sometime down the road, something I'm still working on. But as far as the speed of this thing, I want to kind of get into that a little bit, all right? People like to look at the speed of things. Now, this is not the first video I've done where people said, well, there's no way that thing's a human. It's moving way too fast. If anybody has ever seen the documentary Sasquatch Legend Meets Science, it was the video documentary to kind of accompany Dr. Meldrum's book of the same name, Sasquatch Legend Meets Science. They took a very close look at what was called, I believe it's called the Memorial Day footage, where some people are out somewhere, I believe it's in Oregon, they take some footage of a creature walking or running alongside the hillside up above them. And there was a lot of conjecture about that footage saying it was running way too fast to be a human. Well, in the video, the recreation they did, they got a sprinter from, I believe it was the state of Washington University of Washington, ran the exact same course along the hillside. And this collegiate sprinter turned out was running faster than the figure that's seen in the video. So, you know, you can't look at a piece of footage without doing any kind of measurements and accurately describe how fast something is moving. I got a lot of that for the Great North video too. A lot of people said that, you know, over the course of the 20 meters or so that thing is running, it was running way too fast to be a human. You know, again, first of all, I look at it, I don't think it's running that fast. It's running, you know, it's kind of jogging along. But there's no way to accurately measure it, but it doesn't look like it's running faster than a human could to me. Now, getting back to this one. I'll come back to chat here in just a minute. I did some basic measurements with this footage and a few other tools, Google Earth, and what I found did not change my viewpoint on this at all. It's 100% a person. It's no way it's running faster than human, but I'll get to that in a second. Let me take a look at the chat here and see what's happening. All right, Steve Damon, hey, good to have you back. Thanks for joining me again. Mr. Green Dragon, good evening from Ireland. Well, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I'd like to have you along. Christy Abbott, good. Della Condon, hey man, good morning. Good morning to you. Where are you at there, Della Condon? Where it's morning. It's early evening here in Central Florida. Anyway, okay, so what I did, and this is going back to the first part of the footage here. Okay, I cut off the first few seconds, and I started this exactly when the figure starts running. And the reason I wanted to do that is because I wanted this time code. I wanted to be able to see the time code. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't. I just wanted to be able to see the time code so I could reference that for later on down the road when we see different references. So at 000, it's starting right there. Okay? And then I went to a point where I could see some good references and kind of lined up what I could see. Right here, about 14 seconds and 14 frames, right about here. You have you have a direct line between this bend in the lake and this kind of mark up here. It's about a quarter way down the hillside here. All right. So then I went into Google Earth. I'm going to switch views here for a second, so bear with me. There you go. All right. Okay, so here is Wildhorse Lake, Southeast Oregon. Now, before I go any further, I have to bring this up. I'm going to zoom way out here, and I've got the Google Earth sightings database for the BFRO overlay here. I know things are running real slow. So, what is very significant about this? Now, again, this is something I brought up over with the Great North video. I got attacked on this quite a bit. There's no people there, that's why there's no sightings, and you know, Bigfoot makes special trips for special hunts, and those are just, you know, a few of the more interesting comments I got. But you know, the sightings database bears out the fact that these are creatures that would like to live in forested areas. All right, I'm talking about Bigfoot here. I'm not talking about the Yeti. All right, completely different thing. All right, so I think I would find it very unusual for there to be an actual sighting in this area of Southeast Oregon, because it is not the type of environment that these creatures are known to live based on the available evidence. Okay? All right, and my computer's running really slow. I really apologize for that. So I'm going to try to zoom in here. Maybe if I get rid of that, we'll speed up a little bit. Okay. Really slow. Okay, so now, here you are in Wildhorse Lake. Okay, so now based on what we're seeing in the video, okay, it kind of matches up with, actually very much matches up with what you see right there. Here is this bend right here, and then this bend right here, and then behind the old guy back here is a stream which comes back down there. So that kind of matched up. So I use these landmarks that you can see in the video to kind of line up what we see here. All right. And the very first thing that kind of really stuck out to me, number one, the figure in the video is not nearly as far away as it looks. All right, I'm going to try to measure this out right here. All right, set the meters from roughly where the camera is to where that figure is standing. It's only about 86 meters. All right, it looks like it's a lot farther away than that, but it's not. Okay. Now, I used the 000 mark where that figure starts running to make this line right there. All right. Then I went to the 14-second mark where we had a basic lineup. Remember what I said, the bend right here and about, I don't know, a third of the way down this mountain right here to create this line. Now, there's a lot of people out there saying that this thing is running faster than any human. Well, I know there's some error in this because it's hard to see exactly what angle that figure is running at. I mean, obviously it's not running at 90-degree angle to the camera, and it's not running straight away from the camera either. So I had to kind of figure out how to kind of figure that out. I loaded a clip into a program called Tracker, which allows you to measure angles and distance, and then I use it for limb proportion measurements and all kinds of stuff. It's a very handy freeware program. From the camera angle of view, all right, if this is where it started from right here, okay, this is where the run starts, and this is where it's at about 14 seconds and 22 frames. This is the angle, all right. If it's running straight away this way, it's at 90 degree or a right angle of the camera. Running straight this way, it's 0 degrees, running directly away from the camera. And as you can see, this angle measures out to just a little less than 10 degrees. All right. So 10 degrees. I actually measured out. I lost my fingers. Sorry about that. So we'll just kind of do it manually. I did the math and said, okay, what heading would it be running if it was 10 degrees off of a 90-degree angle? But I don't have that right now, so we'll do a quick measurement right here. Bring up the ruler again. All right. Remember, this is the line where it starts, and this is the line from the camera at 14 seconds and 22 frames. So we can kind of get a wild guess at just how far that thing's running in 14 seconds by doing a quick measurement here. In 14 seconds, if it was running 90 degrees from the angle of the camera, that figure is 24 meters. Okay? If it's running at about 10 degrees or so from the angle of the camera, that figure is only about 26, 27 meters. All right? So I figured, man, that seems like it's not very long. It seems like it can't be right. It just seems like it's way too low for me. So what about the worst case scenario? What about if it ran all the way as far as it could off at this angle, all right, and started running up the side of the hills right there, which at 14 seconds it's clearly not doing, okay? That figure, even if it's all the way to this creek, is still only 77 meters. Okay, so for those people out there who think this is some kind of world-class sprinter, if a world-class sprinter was wearing a big bulky suit or lots of clothing, I still think a world-class sprinter could run that distance faster than 14 seconds. I didn't do the mathology on this because I quite frankly ran out of time. But given what we're seeing and what I'm seeing with Tracker and the other measurements I made, I mean, it's really not that far a distance at all. So, I mean, this thing is clearly not running that fast. All right. So, take a look at chat again. Take a look here. Bear with me for just 1 second. I'll bring this back up. Put that back up there. Okay, so, what's everybody think? Let's hear what you have to say. I have a few more minutes here. Take a look at chat here. Sydney, Australia, hello. All right. Thanks for rising up there. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Check the pareidolia as you zoom in. It was Bigfoot's face. Yeah, lots of pareidolia out there. Maria Haglund, love that you take time to look at this kind of stuff with us live and interact with us. Yeah, thank you, Maria. This is something I've wanted to do for quite a long time now. It's taken me a long time to figure out the software and figure out how the interface between the software and YouTube, and I had to buy some equipment to be able to integrate my microphone for a live stream. But I really enjoy it. I really enjoy interfacing live with people. So thank you. And again, watch your Alberta breakdown earlier. What about the obvious clips or edits in the film Yes, you know, I did see that, and I was going to mention that right at the very beginning of that. No, you know what? I'll just bring it up here. I'll bring the file up here, if you bear with me. Recent Alberta. Yeah, you're right. There is an obvious edit in there, and you know, I meant to address that, and I should have. I'm going to go to the raw. Yeah, it's taking Premiere Pro. My computer's running really slow, so it's taking Premiere Pro a little time to catch up. All right, right in the beginning there. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. It's real slow. Alright. Okay, so right about here. So this, you'll see there is an obvious edit. At the beginning of this, the footage is very, very, very shaky. Okay. Let's see here. And then it smooths out suddenly. If I can find the spot. I'm going to play it and see if I can spot it here. Very shaky. Then right there. Right there. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good catch. I meant to address this. Right there. So yeah. Yes, obviously it has been edited. No question about it. There's an edit point right there. It's not a very bold edit. I mean, it doesn't jump from one scene completely to 180 degrees out to a different camera angle or anything. But it looks like there is a real quick, maybe edits from the point where he's hand holding it to he puts it on a bipod or a tripod or something. But it's still relatively shaky. It looks like you know, it's less shaky than it was before. But there's still some shakiness to it, like he's trying to get the camera panned around or something to get it in the shot. I would be more concerned about that if, like I said, it was a really, really wild difference in views and what we're seeing here. But it is a question mark. You know, you have to keep that in mind. Still, to me, if that's the biggest thing we're looking at as proof of a hoax, or the little girl saying what she said, that to me, you know, like I said, I already said that, you know, I can't see anything that proves it's a Sasquatch. But what those two little things right there, to me, are not huge to prove that it's a hoax. You know, it's just one of those ones where I don't see enough of it to say it's a hoax or not, you know. But that's a good catch. There, you know, you're right. There's obviously an edit right there. So, good one. All right. What else we got here? Alan Hint G's. Am I saying that correctly? I'd still say human, very possibly. I don't know if you're talking about this one or Wildhorse Lake. Agree and acting bad too. Dr. I agree with Maria. This is legit scientific breakdown. Thank you very much. Alan Hentke, still see a suit. You know, it could be. You know, man. Yeah. If it's a person in a suit, it's huge. Now, I got to say that with, you know, with a, you know, a little bit. Yeah, I think I alluded to this in the video. I see some proportions on the creature that look huge, but admittedly, you know, I can't measure it. There's nothing out there that I can get any kind of a you know, a decent measurement on to compare it with. So it may not be as big as I think it is. You know, it may not be. You know, the what I saw of the arm, it looks impressive in this piece of footage. That doesn't mean it is. You know, it could be just a regular sized person wearing 15 layers of coats or something like that. You know, it's very possible. So, you know, you're absolute. You know, if you guys think it's a suit, it could be. You know, I cannot discount that it's a person in a suit. I cannot discount that it's a Sasquatch either. It really comes down to, you know, what your personal opinion is of this piece of footage. You know, that's all I'm going to say. You know, sorry about that. Thank you, Ellen. I appreciate that. Dana, you think it's a real deal? You know, it's possible. You know, every once in a while, I got to raise my hand and say, you know what? I don't know. It could be real. it could be a fake. You know, that's just the nature of this business. You know, you got to be honest. You know, I don't always see what, you know, I don't always see enough for me to make an informed decision on what I think I'm seeing. You know, so there you go. All right, I got a few more minutes here. Does anybody else want to talk about anything? Talk about anything, specifically Bigfoot related, hopefully. I like to kind of stay away from politics on these things. All right, what else we got here? Christy Abbott, do I believe in Bigfoot? Great question. It's not. It's not about belief. It's not a matter of faith for me. I have been interested in this subject ever since I was about 5 years old, and for the last 20 years, when I first encountered the BFRO's Bigfoot database of sightings, for about the first 3 years, it was almost every day I was on that website looking in the new sightings database. Excuse me for just a second. Pardon me. Over the last 20 years of reading through thousands of sighting reports, I have come to understand that the evidence supports the existence of these creatures. So it's not a matter of faith, of belief. It's a matter of looking at the evidence and letting the evidence convince me. The evidence has convinced me over the years that there has to be something to this, that these creatures do exist. There's just too much out there. For me, most people would say, oh yeah, it's just another believer. And you know, you have a lot of skeptics out there who like to very easily dismiss the evidence as just being a few grainy photographs, you know, a few sightings. What most people who are skeptics don't understand is that the evidence is, there's a mountain of it. There's just so much of it out there. Thousands upon thousands. There's something like 6,300 eyewitness reports on the BFRO database. I think it's 5,300 in the U.S. alone. And I've probably read through 4,500 of them over the last 20 years. I don't know. I've read so many books, seen so many videos, watched hundreds of videos on YouTube. And, you know, but even before YouTube came around, I was, you know, convinced that the creatures existed. So that's where I stand. And what else we got here? PG film. Oh, I think the PG film is real. You know, that was from Alan again. Yeah, I think the PG film is real. I'm in the process of doing something, basically, my viewpoint of why I think it's real. It's going to do a complete, you know, not frame by frame, but point by point, the walk, the mass, the height, the footprint, the movement of the foot, the movement of the toes, things like that. I'll touch on Bob Hieronymus being, you know, claiming to be the guy in the suit, and Philip Morris, the guy who claims to have made the suit. I'll touch on all that. That's going to come out here in the next couple weeks or so. And I'll touch on all that. Let's see. Heard that their big X's mean stop or stay out. What do you think about that? You know, that's possible. Here's the problem with that. There is no evidence that supports that other than what researchers are seeing and saying. Okay? There is zero sighting reports that describe these creatures in the act of physically making the X's. There's zero sighting reports, at least that I know of, and I've read a lot of them, zero sighting reports describing these creatures doing tree breaks or any other activity of that nature. I'm a person who's spent a great deal of time out in the wild. I have never seen a tree break that couldn't be explained away. Now, that does not mean that Bigfoot does not make them. I'm just saying that there is no evidence in the sightings database, in the witness, actual Class A sightings where the creature's been witnessed, that supports Sasquatch making those. Does it make sense that they make those? Yeah, it does. It does make sense that they would do something like that. I think that's in line with ape behavior. But again, evidence is real thin on that. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got. Thoughts on the Florida Bigfoot? You're talking about the skunk ape? I think it exists just as much as Sasquatch from any other part of the country. Florida has the third most sighting reports of all 50 states behind the state of Washington and California. State of Washington being the most, then California, then Florida, which kind of shocked me when I figured out here several years ago that Florida had the third most sightings. I thought it would have been Oregon or Montana or Colorado more than Florida, but nope, Florida has the third most sightings. I had an experience of my own. It's in a video I did way back when called One Night in the Woods, Why I Chased Bigfoot. It's on my YouTube channel if you want to go watch it. So the evidence supports Sasquatch living here as well, also known as the skunk ape. Do I think the Sierra sounds are fake? Yeah, God, that's a tough one. Man, those sounds are interesting. And man, they are, you listen to those, man, it kind of gets a chill going back up to, your spine, I've listened to them many times. You'll notice on my YouTube channel, I don't do a lot of breakdowns on sounds. And I don't do a lot of breakdowns on still photographs either. Still photographs are interesting. But the one that I did do a breakdown on was a JPEG that was sent directly to me. It had the metadata intact, so I could look at the metadata and compare it with what I'm seeing. And I was able to do an analysis on the footage and the comparison photo that was sent to me and come up with an answer to what was happening there. With pictures that are just uploaded to YouTube where I can't get the original picture, where I can't get the metadata, it's very difficult to take a look at something that, and make an informed decision about what you're seeing. Now, sometimes that's not true. Sometimes you look at something and say, oh, it's obviously a fake, or because you can see the limbs, you can do a limb proportion analysis and say that looks like a human, blah, blah, blah. But most of them are fairly ambiguous, and you really can't make heads or tails of them. Sounds, on the other hand, to me, if you can't see what's making the sound, unless you can match it up to a recording of a known animal, it's very hard to say, well, that's real. There's another YouTube channel out there called Sasquatch Bioacoustics that I've been listening to quite a bit. This guy seems to be very informed about sounds and animal sounds. So head on over there and take a look at some of his videos. He's got some video, and he uses Audacity to take a look at these sounds and kind of figure out what's going on there. It's very interesting. I want to get more into sounds, but it's not going to be from a breakdown, yes, it's a Bigfoot, or no, it's not a Bigfoot type of mentality. It's just going to be, okay, here's the sound, I've enhanced it, take a look at it, isolate it, and you can think what you want to think about it. So that's kind of where I stand on the Sierra sounds, simply because, you don't know you can't see what's making the sounds, so it's hard to say, yeah, absolutely a Bigfoot, right? Okay. Dela Condon, woman I work with walks just like Patty. She's 60ish, heavyset, not fat, and saw her once walking at the same, angulated to look back towards me, same, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing the stream here, side, same answering, etc., interesting movement. Okay, so you have a coworker, basically, that you say walks like Bigfoot. I've always said that Patty's gait is something that's mimicable, at least for the short term. I think it can be faked. But remember, nobody was faking that gait. Nobody. The only time people are faking that gait has been since Patty's come out. It reminds me of a story here not too long ago that I read about the late Grover Krantz, who was the very first person in academia who did some serious study on the Bigfoot Sasquatch phenomenon. He had some peers, I believe it was peers at Washington State University, went out and faked some footprints and fooled Dr. Krantz. Krantz said, they're real. And they said, no, they're not, they're fake. Well, the only reason they were able to get by him and with these fake footprints is because they read his write-ups on what he was seeing in actual Bigfoot footprints. He's finding the dermatoglyphics, the fingerprint stuff in the bottom of the feet. He's seeing the flexible foot, the mid-tarsal break. These are all things he's seen. Well, with that knowledge that he provided them, they were able to go out and fake a footprint based on his own information. If they didn't have that information, they probably wouldn't have fooled him one bit. They would have carved a footprint into a piece of wood and said, "Hey, look, Bigfoot footprint, and he wouldn't have been fooled probably one bit. So that's where I stand, kind of stand with that. It's easy to fake something if you know how to fake it, right? But I bet you if you go back and look at that coworker a little bit closer, you'll probably see that she's not walking with a true compliant gait, right? She's probably not walking with the bent knee the way a Sasquatch does. She's probably not bringing her hind foot up to almost, or the lower leg almost up to 90 degrees during the movement of the foot forward. So go back and take another look at it and see if that's actually the way it is. All right, well, I've got some time for a few more chats here. What do we got here? Yeah, I think the Sierra sounds can be made in the studio easily. Yeah, again, it's why I'm very careful when I talk about sounds. You know, I never, when I'm looking at sounds, I never say, yeah, that's obviously a Bigfoot or obviously not a Bigfoot. There's not enough information there. You know, there's some people, some audio experts who have the ability to look at the waveform of a sound and calculate the length of the vocal tract with that information. That is not something that I know how to do, and I do not believe that I have the software that would allow me to get that information. So, you know, that's beyond my area of expertise, honestly. Now let's see. Let's see what else we got here. Douglas Kugler, if Bigfoot were real, then 6,000 reports would have a few quality sightings as good as Patty, the gold standard. The lack of a tail, that when it says tail to the bell curve, is evidence that all the other sightings are bad and fake. I'm not sure what you're talking about. The lack of a tail to the bell curve. If BF were real, then the 6,000 reports would have a few quality sightings as good as Patty. Yeah, I guess it. You know, that's you're welcome to your opinion. Okay, that's fine. I guess I'm not sure what you really mean by a few quality sightings. You know, I guess you can take all these with a grain of salt if you want to. Here's the deal. You know, you could throw out every single sighting, every single footprint, every single hair, scat, sound, everything. But if just one of them is real, you have something significant. All right. Every time like I said, I talk about how many sighting reports I've read through over the last 20 years. You know, I know in my mind you got to take a grain of salt with some of these things. But would I say none of them are real? Absolutely not. Would I say all of them are absolutely a Sasquatch? No, I wouldn't say that either. You can put a number on this and how many you think might have actually seen a Sasquatch, and how many are either crazy on drugs or saw something that was, you know, attributable to a known animal. I wouldn't be able to put a number on that. I just know what I've read, and the information I've been able to glean on that is what I base my breakdowns on, that and, you know, other research I've done throughout the rest of my life. But thanks for your opinion, though. I appreciate that. What else we got? Alan Hughes, do you think Sierra Bigfoot is fake? That was the video filmed, Sierra Bigfoot filmed by a church group, the Sierra Bigfoot. Is it called the Sierra Bigfoot, or is it called something else? I think you're talking about the one that's filmed way far away walking down a hill. Hit me up with that one again. I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know it by some other name, though. Excuse me. Let's see. Alan Hughes, yes. Okay, yeah. I'm kind of undecided on that one, honestly. That's another one where it's so far away. Okay, it's so far away. Even zooming into it, you don't really have enough detail to make an informed opinion on it. Now, I haven't done a breakdown on it. I know a lot of people have. I know Bigfoot Tony has, and other people have. I'm up in the air on that one. You know, I haven't done a real detailed analysis of it, because I just look at it. All I see is something. You can vaguely see a bipedal something walking on the hill very far away. So again, you know, I'm going to leave that one up to you guys. Maybe I'll do a breakdown here, you know, or at least try to do something with it in Premiere Pro and see if I can clean it up a little bit and maybe take some measurements. But that'll be down the road a bit. Two Dogs, hey, one of my very first subscribers. Thanks for joining us tonight. Patty, the man wearing the suit passed a polygraph on TV. Okay, thanks for bringing that up. Here's what I got to say about polygraph testing. There's a reason why they are not admissible in a court of law. That's all I'm going to say about it. Some people believe in them, some people don't. Well, I'll say something else. I used to work for a certain U.S. government agency, all right? They relied very heavily on polygraph tests to make sure certain people that they were employing, were okay, trustworthy, whatever. Sorry, my dog's scratching the door. One of those people that passed a polygraph test blew himself up and killed 10 people. All right, so there's what I think of polygraph testing. Anyway, moving on. All right, all sightings I've had are real. Awesome. All right, hey, I'll never take away anybody's personal experiences. I never will. All right, I just look at video evidence and I go with that. You have a personal experience, that's awesome. You can never take somebody's personal experience away from them. I've had my own personal experiences with Sasquatch, but do I know it was a Sasquatch? No, I don't. It was just an interesting night. I've had my own personal experience with what you would call paranormal, ghostly activity. Was it really a ghost? I don't know. I'm the kind of person who tends to rationalize away things like that, but I cannot discount what I experienced. That's for another time, but thanks for saying that. Let's see. Timon, shoot one, finish the issue for once and all. Yeah, that's a contentious debate that's been going back since the late 60s, early 70s. It was Grover Krantz, who I mentioned before, who was an advocate for shooting one just so we could get a type specimen for science. And he really pissed off a lot of people that, Renee DeHenden was very anti, shooting one. I think John Green was anti-shooting one too. You have those people in the community that are for it, that are against it. I personally am against it. I don't think it's necessary. It's just not necessary to have a type specimen of this. It would be good if we had one that died naturally or a roadkill or something like that, but I don't think it's necessary to kill one just to get a type specimen for science. I just don't think it's necessary. We already have. I think it's safe to say that you're already talking about a species that's been severely depleted in the last few hundred years. Its habitat has been severely depleted. So you're probably, I think Grover Krantz estimated there was probably 1,000 to 1,600 living in North America. I don't know how he derived by that. I think he said that if there was more of them, they'd be seen more, and if there was less of them, there wouldn't be an adequate breeding population. So, you can take that number with a grain of salt. Nobody really knows. Neither do I. So, Dana Randstrom, could you do a breakdown on the Pegasus backroad footage? I'll have to do some research on that one. I'm not sure I've heard of that one, but thanks for the suggestion. All right. Dana Randstrom, talked about Two Dogs. How come you removed the video with the paranormal voice? It was extremely interesting. Oh yeah. Hey, thanks, man. We messaged each other about this one before, and I said that I wasn't entirely certain that what I was hearing was not my son in the back room. It wasn't just that. It was a video that was inside my house, and it was a video that we weren't particularly comfortable with being on YouTube. I'll be honest. That's the only time where I've had any kind of experience inside the house. My wife has had more. Nothing mean or violent or scary or anything, just had little things happen here or there. But like I said here a few minutes ago, I'm the type of person who likes to rationalize things. I look for a rational explanation in just about everything. So maybe that makes me closed-minded. I like to think I'm very open-minded about these things. When it comes to ghosts, I'm kind of an agnostic. I don't know if I truly believe they exist, but I'm not going to sit there and say they don't, because I'm the kind of person who thinks that it's impossible to prove something doesn't exist. You can't prove something doesn't exist. You just can't. All right. All right. Brandorf, greetings. Greetings to you, too. Thanks, man. All right. I'm going to have to wrap it up here in just a minute or two. If you have any more chat, throw them at me real quick, and I'll read those off and respond to them. But just a couple more minutes. I want to thank everybody for showing up, first of all. Two Dogs. I understand. Just wish I had downloaded it. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was just a little too personal, So, just thought it was a good idea to take it down. Anyway. All right, I got about a minute left. and I go get my dog fed and outside and make sure the kids are fed and all that stuff. So while we're waiting here for any more chat, I'll just maybe play this again one more time, loop it a few times for you. Marble Mountain is high on my list. I think Marble Mountain is what we were referring to. Alan Hentage, is that the one you're talking about, the Marble Mountain footage? Yeah, I think that's the one that me and Alan were talking about there. I might be wrong. All right, let's play this one more time. It's kind of fun to look at anyway. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I want to thank everybody for logging on and chatting with me tonight. I really appreciate it. This is something I really enjoyed doing. Taking questions live like this it's immensely satisfying for me. So I really appreciate it. CAH, good work. Thank you very much. Brondorf, Marble Mountain, high on the list. We already talked about that. Della Condon, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Another good session. Not working Mondays, interesting. Yeah, not working Mondays is awesome. I'm retired, man. I don't work Mondays either. So, hey. Two Dogs 716, best Bigfoot video, your favorite, most convincing. Well, Patterson Gimlin. The ones I actually, in my mind, know are real. Patterson Gimlin, the Freeman Bigfoot footage. And one that surprises people, the Playway footage, also known as the Redwoods footage. That's one I think is very interesting as well. And there's others out there that I think the Robert Dawson footage is cool. There's a few others are out that I think are very interesting, although not convincing enough to say, yeah, absolutely a Bigfoot. But, very, very interesting. Okay. Yeah, gotta love Bigfoot riding Nessie flipping off the world. Yeah, I saw that a long time ago. I gotta have that for my thumbnail. It's just too good. Okay, folks, I'm going to sign off for now. Once again, thanks everybody for joining me, and I'll see you next weekend. I'm going to try to do these weekly. Can't guarantee that I'll be able to, but I'm going to try. So that's it.